Hello, everyone, and welcome to week one of Global Business. This week one, we're going to start going over a brief overview of the world marketplace and international business itself. All right, so this PowerPoint and this video go along with chapter one of your book. All right, and again, I'm Professor Robert Romano. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. You can stop by my office. You can email me or give me a call on my cell phone, 203-777-9797. All right, to begin with, when we say international business, what are we actually talking about? All right, so I want you to think about that for a second. International business, what does that mean? All right, the book's translation or definition is any business transaction between parties from more than one country. All right, so if the business transaction takes place within the United States, that would not be considered international business. But if it's between the United States and Canada, then there it is. All right, it includes activities such as buying and selling raw materials, inputs or finished products, sending them across borders, or operating plants in other countries. All right, and you do that to take advantage of the local resources. So, Nike being an international business firm, they operate in most of their plants or license out most of their production or manufacturing in other countries, right? And they do that to take advantage of the cheaper labor cost. Okay, and also international business includes borrowing money in one country to finance operations in a second. Okay, so you're borrowing the money from an English bank to finance a business in Italy. All right, that would be considered international business also. So, if I ask you on the quiz to define international business, you could do that, right? Any business transaction between two or more countries, and includes buying and selling raw materials, operating plants in other countries to take advantage of local resources, or even the fact that you borrow money, all right, in one country to finance operations in a second. All right, you get to answer that question that way, boom, you get the points. All right, there are 5 major reasons that to study international business. Okay, you as students have taken this class. And the question is why? Well, there's pretty much, from the book and from my perspective, there's pretty much 5 different reasons to do so. Number 1, first of all, you work for a company that is foreignly owned, all right, or domestically owned but has some foreign operations. All right, so you're already working in an international business itself, right? And that business is owned by a company from outside this country, or is owned by an American company but does work somewhere else. All right, or it could be domestically owned but is affected by the global economy. All right, so even though it's an American-run business, you need to study these reasons because the world economy is going to have an effect on how that business operates, the success of that business. Okay, so I would encourage you to study international business, because to be successful in your career, it is important that you understand at least the basic reasons why companies conduct business across borders. Okay, you take this, you have a basic understanding of why Coca-Cola sells its product in other countries, why Nike manufactures their sneakers on foreign soil. Okay. Second reason is you may want to one day open your own small business. You may be entrepreneurial in spirit. All right, so you may want to cross borders. So even though you're small, doesn't mean you can't do business internationally. All right, small businesses today are becoming even more active in international business environment. All right, my business, my private business, Rise International, is an international business. We represent coaches in their contract negotiations with teams overseas, in England, in Spain, and Italy. So my small little boutique firm, we are international because that's what we do. We negotiate contracts for coaches with foreign teams. All right, so even though you're small, even though you may only be buying and supplying small components or providing services, it doesn't matter. You still can be an international business. Okay, so if you have that entrepreneurial spirit, you want to start your own firm, it's good to study international business so you get some of the basics. Third, it's also important, I think, to be culturally literate. Um, just being worldly and understanding how the global economy works and understanding how international marketplaces work is invaluable within your career. All right. Therefore, I feel it is critical to you to develop cultural literacy. All right. This will enable you to be fluent and able to discuss international business. All right. I find certain parts of the United States they're a little more culturally literate than other parts. When I was in New York, very cultural literate. Right. A lot of international business. Everybody understands how the global market works. Everybody understands how the international marketplace works because it affects them um, directly. So I feel it's important to be culturally literate. Um, in today's workplace, I feel students who fail to develop global skills, they'll lose possibly jobs, possibly career moves to others who are more globally sound. All right. So therefore, I would encourage you to learn multiple languages and have job experiences within different countries, and also to travel. I mean, look around a little bit. This summer, I'll be teaching in Spain, in Barcelona, Spain. Do I know Spanish? Not very well, but the experience itself will open up my eyes. I'll see how other parts of this world do things, and I can gain knowledge from that. Okay, I may not agree with it. I may think it's better though. So at least I'm putting myself out there to gain some knowledge. So I would encourage you to do the same thing. Finally, business techniques and tools are developed globally. All right. You need to study international business or global business so that you're aware of developments taking place in other parts of the world. All right. It's just we're getting smaller as a world. All right. The world is getting much smaller. The effects of Iran, the effects of Syria having an impact on us. How China's marketplace is going has an effect on us. So you as students need to be aware, right, and be aware of the developments that take place in other parts of the world. They can affect your business. They can affect you. All right. All right. Getting into the international marketplace. All right. Let's go over some concepts. Importing. Everybody knows what importing is, right? What is importing? Importing involves the buying of products made in other countries for resale here in this country. All right, so we import goods. At the same time, we export. All right, and exporting involves selling products made here for sale in another country. All right, importing isn't bringing goods in from other countries to sell here. Exporting is making products here but selling them somewhere else in a different country. Easy concept. All right, so if I ask you on the quiz, what's importing, what's exporting, you should have that, no problem. Exporting is important to both large and small firms. Okay, some of my students sometimes say to me, "Yeah, well, what am I going to export? I'm just mom and pop firm." No, it is important for everyone. All right, of course, the large companies, the Boeing's, they have sales of $33.4 billion. That's a large company. That's a large firm, right? They sell commercial aircraft, right? But they sell to foreign customers. 2/3 of their sales, their commercial aircraft sales, are with foreign customers. So $22 billion takes place with customers overseas. That doesn't mean the little guys can't get in on this, all right? Small example, Task Force Tips, a small Indiana manufacturer of fire hose nozzles, exports 1/3 of their production. All right, small firm, never heard of them. Task Force Tips, who are they? They're in Indiana, but they take their fire hose nozzles and they export 1/3 of them overseas. Because guess what? There are firehouses and firemen in different parts of the world. Imagine that. All right. Merchandise exports and imports refers to trade in goods. Okay, also known as visible trade. So merchandise exports and imports refers to trades in goods. All right, goods, tangibles. Service exports and imports refers to intangible products. All right, invisible trade. All right, so more service oriented. So exporting and importing could be both goods and services. All right, merchandise is tangible, services are intangible. All right, if you want breakdown on this, go to Figure 1.1 of your book. It provides an example of levels of goods exported by countries throughout the world based on their GPD, or the gross domestic product. You want to take some time looking at Figure 1.1 in your book. All right. Shifting gears here, now we're getting into the international marketplace. International investments, right? Part of international business is investments, money. All right. International investments is a method in which residents of one country supply capital, money, to those of a second country. Right. All right. These include banking, investing, the selling of money itself, selling of bonds. All right. And all these take place across international borders. All right. So international investments, pretty easy. Method in which residents of one country supply capital to those in a second. And this could be done through banking industry, through the investment houses, the buying and selling of money on the exchange, buying and selling of bonds, and all this has to take place between countries or across borders. All right, there are two types of international investments. First one is foreign direct investments, FDI. Okay, these are investments made for the purpose of actively controlling properties or assets or companies located in foreign countries. All right, so FDIs are investments made with a purpose. They're made with the purpose of actively controlling property or companies or assets in a foreign country. All right, so these investments have a direct connection with that property overseas. All right. The country from which the investment flows is the home country. The country in which the investment flows to is the host country. Okay, so the country from which the investment goes out of is the home country. From the country in which it flows into is the host country. Okay, not too hard. All right, the second one are portfolio investments. All right, as compared to FDIs, you have portfolio investments. And these involve the purchase of foreign financial assets such as stocks, bonds, CDs, all right, used for purposes other than control. FDIs, you want to control. Portfolio investments, the purchase of financial assets for the purposes other than control. All right, usually through licensing. Okay, in a licensing agreement, its agreement allows a firm in one country to use all or some of the IP, the intellectual property of a firm in a second country, in exchange for payment, usually in the form of guarantees, royalties, or advances. All right, so FDI is direct investments, directly control that property, as opposed to portfolio investments, which is a purchase of financial assets for purposes other than control. And it's based on licensing. Okay, and again, licensing are agreements which allow the firm in one country to use all or some of the IP of a firm in a second country. And in exchange, there's going to be a transfer of money either through royalties, guarantees, or advances. Okay. International licensing basically is a contractual agreement between companies where one company in a foreign country agrees to pay royalty payments to the company in a home country for the use of their IP. All right, and IP meaning patents, copyrights, and trade secrets or trademarks. All right, and we'll go over what the difference between patent, copyrights, and trademarks down the road in another class. All right, but international licensing very similar to American licensing. It's a contract. It's a licensing agreement between two or more parties, usually companies, where one company in a foreign country agrees to pay royalties to the home country for the use of that IP. When I say IP, I mean intellectual property, patents, copyrights, trade secrets, trademarks. All right. Another concept in the international marketplace you need to be aware of is the concept of franchising. All right, franchising allows a firm in one country to use the brand's names, logos, and operating techniques of a firm in a second country, and again, exchange for a royalty payment. Okay, a little bit different than licensing. Franchising, let's think about it in McDonald's, right? McDonald's franchised their restaurants to come to France at one time. The French franchising company built their own McDonald's over there, got to use all the brands, logos, and everything, and all the trade secrets. All right, licensing different from franchising. Licensing is just using the brands, the patents, trademarks. You have a license to use those. Franchising a little bit more intense. You're actually building something there. All right, like a McDonald's, a Pizza Hut, a Walgreens. Each of these organizations has franchise components in foreign countries. All right, you're giving up more than just the logos. You're giving actual contracting for a structure, for a place to sell your goods from in franchising as opposed to licensing. All right, management contracts is another way to get into the international marketplace. Management contracts are basically agreements in which a firm in one country agrees to operate facilities or provide management services for an agreed upon fee. All right. Great example. This is in the hotel industry. The Marriott and Hilton manage international hotels that they do not own. They sell their expertise to the business and manage other hotels. All right, so you have licenses, you have franchising, and now you have management contracts. All right, management contracts, you don't own the business. You're just selling your expertise to run the business. All right, there are several ways to describe the extent of a firm's international orientation. The broadest level is just what we spoke about before, international business, wherein an organization engages in commercial transactions with individuals, private firms, or public sector orientations that cross borders. All right, broadest level, international business. Organizations engage in commercial transactions across borders. And as commercial transactions can be with individuals, firms, or public sector organizations. One example are multinational corporations, or MNCs. All right, MNCs are firms with extensive involvement in international business. They engage in foreign direct investment and own or control value-added activities in more than one country. All right, so multinational corporations. They do an extensive amount of business overseas, and they invest or control many businesses in more than one country. Okay, multinational. Multinationals are typically buy resources, create goods and or services, and then sell those goods and services in a variety of countries. Usually, however, the hierarchy is usually centrally located. All right, so that the control and the coordination usually comes from a central headquarters in one country, but there are subsidiaries making adjustments in the host countries as necessary. All right, let's define globalization. We've been talking about it. This class is called the global. I don't even know what this class is called. I'm just kidding. The globalization, the global business, right? So what is globalization? All right. The book defines it as the inexorable integration of markets, nation states, and technologies in a way that enable individuals, corporations, and nation states to reach around the world faster, further, deeper, and cheaper than ever before. Okay. If I put on a quiz, just put that down and you're fine. All right. It's the book's definition. It's not mine. All right. But to analyze, what I'm interested in is analyzing this stuff. All right. So I really want you to look at the different charts in the book. All right. Understand what the visual representations of the various charts. The 1.2 chart gives a representation of growth of exports in the world as referred to within gross domestic product. And 1.3 talks about foreign direct investments. All right, so really analyze this stuff. I really want you to start thinking about this. What GPD is, what exports, how exports affect GPD, how foreign direct investments have an impact on various countries. All right. Next thing I want you to think about is what drives a company to enter a foreign market. Why would you want to? Right. There are various reasons, but one is just to leverage your core competence. All right. That is what I mean by that is that firms have skills that help them compete successfully in one country. Why not expand it into other countries? All right, you mastered the marketplace here. Why not expand into other areas? Right? Keep creating a bigger business for yourself. Right? You know, when I started Rise International, which is Rise, but as we grew and grew and grew, we started taking on coaches from overseas because our core competency didn't change. We're still negotiating contracts. They may be in foreign languages. There may be different currencies involved, different teams involved. But the actual act of negotiating contracts and negotiating coaching contracts was the same. Okay, so why not expand it globally? All right. Another reason why is to acquire resources and supplies. All right. You may be able to get goods cheaper, or they may be more available in various countries. Okay, so why not expand globally to get to leverage that, to get that cheaper price, to get the availability of these goods and services that you'll produce and manufacture and then sell. Another reason why a company might want to enter a foreign market is want to seek new markets. You know, they may have played out where they are. The company may have been saturated, and you can increase your sales by expanding into markets beyond your border. Okay, it just makes sense. And also diversifies you, right? You can compete with your rivals. Firms often prefer not to concede markets to rivals. Therefore, they will try to expand in new markets. Okay, so you may be able to make money overseas, which will help you locally or domestically, which we can keep you in competition with your rivals. Okay, so these are all reasons. So, again, if I ask you on the quiz, what drives a company to enter a foreign market? Boom, there you go. All right. Keeping into, but when you're thinking of expanding and moving into foreign lands, you got to keep in mind that there are ever-changing environments. All right, these environments have an impact on a country. Okay, so just be aware that the political environments are always changing. Trade barriers, countries are in conflict. There's various cultural differences, and basically technology is always changing. All right, so as you expand or thinking about expanding internationally, you need to be aware. Yes, you need to expand, but you also need to be aware of the changing environments within the countries that you're going to, especially on a political level, especially on a technological level. The other countries may not have the same technology we have, or they may have better technology than we have. Okay. Your assignment. There's a written assignment due at the end of the week, but your assignment for yourselves is I just want you to look at these various websites. Familiarize yourself with them. All right. North American Free Trade Agreement, not the Wikipedia stuff. They don't just NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement. Take a look at that. The World Trade Organization. Take a look at that. Okay, just familiarize yourself with GATT, all that good stuff. All right, see how the world works. Last thing I want to talk to you about, all right, is the emerging markets. All right, international business activity has expanded. All right, with the collapse of the European communism, with in the late '80s, early '90s, with the Cold War coming to an end and the wall coming down, to get that coupled with China and India becoming powers, the marketplace has changed. Okay, there are now markets beyond North America, Western Europe, and Japan. All right, and these new markets are called emerging markets. Some scholars use the acronym BRIC, B-R-I-C, to identify these emerging markets, those being Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Um, but you just need to be aware of it. It's not the same. In your generation is a little bit different. When I was a kid growing up, it was just North America, Europe, and Japan. Those are the powerhouses. Now we have these emerging markets. Some of them are referred to as BRIC: Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And the other one is the Big Ten. All right, Argentina, Brazil, China, India. Some crossover there, but also includes Argentina, Indonesia, Poland, South Africa, Turkey, South Korea. Not North Korea. We don't like them. All right. Other experts look at countries such as Africa, Asia, Latin America to continue our expansion into emerging markets. All right. So, what I want you to think about, and what the discussion questions are going to be based on, or what do I mean by international business? How does that differ from domestic? Why is it important that you study international or global business? Okay? What's the difference between imports, exports, foreign direct investments versus portfolio investments? And what are the basic reasons for growth of international business activity? Okay? So, reread Chapter 1. Familiarize yourself with the various charts and figures. And if you have any questions on Chapter 1, please feel free to give me a call or contact me somehow. Okay? Thank you. Have a good day.